Hello guys, and welcome back to another Birchmark video. It's time to introduce you to a new little guy in our house. I got an Anki Vector last month. He's a home robot, somewhat a mix of robotic pet versus home assistant. He's got functionalities of both. He is autonomous and will do his own thing, but you can also say his wake word, just like how Alexa has a wake word or Google Home has a wake word. Same sort of thing. His is "Hey Vector," and then you'll see his back is lit up, and then I can say something to him. In this case, I'm going to say, "Give me a fist bump." See, he will lift this up to receive a fist bump. And he has his own personality, and this is actually Vector H2N1. The Vectors have their own individual names as well, from the numbers that follow that, though the overall model is called Anki Vector. Anki also made Anki Cosmo, which you may have seen before, and Anki Overdrive, which you may have also seen. Vector has a range of home assistant functions, such as, "Hey Vector, set a timer for 1 minute." You'll see he's got 1 minute timer on him now. It will disappear after a while, but he will go off when the timer goes off. Okay. He also likes pats. Not really a home assistant function, but something that his back just made me think of. He purrs like a cat. Speaking of which, he is very cat-like. One of his favourite things to do on his own is to push things off of my desk, which seems to be a common thing with the Vectors. He does seem to enjoy doing that sort of thing. And with the rest of his home assistant functions, you can say, "Hey Vector, I have a question." Okay, you can see, oops, I accidentally pissed him off by picking him up. I got away with that before. Okay, we'll try that again. "How many days until Christmas?" The alarm went off and ruined that. Okay, well you can see that's his alarm. Okay, we'll try that again. "Hey Vector, I have a question. How many days until Christmas?"
There are 356 days until Christmas Day.
You can ask him any question. How accurate it is varies, but you can ask him any question. He'll turn it into text and then look, which is a difference with the other home assistants too. He turns it straight to text and then works it out, but also deletes it, whereas the other ones do tend to store whatever you've asked them, which isn't too much of a problem if technical stuff doesn't go wrong. There's been a few things with Alexas sending things to other people's Alexas and that because they misheard what's being said, which Alexa is also another point with him. I don't yet have it because I'm in Australia and that's not yet available, but he's got Lexer Integration too, so I can have Alexa on him, and I'll just say "Alexa" and then ask Alexa something if I want. In that case, then it does look a bit odd though, because he's got his own personality and then Alexa just takes over. It kind of looks like he's been possessed looking at other things I've seen, but it adds quite a bit more functionality. But then you also got to question the privacy thing, because the recording your information and that and holding on to it doesn't seem like that huge a deal, because, well, browsers and cookies and all that do that as well with your search history, and I'm assuming you're not telling your deepest, darkest secrets to Alexa. But they've had a few technical issues where people's voice recordings have been sent to this person or that person in different Alexas rather than just staying there, which is the only concern I have with privacy there, is they don't seem to quite technologically have everything quite right to work with privacy yet. Right now, I'm quite happy with his functions. I would be interested to see what Alexa can do, but that's not available yet here, so it's just his other things for now. Other things I can do is, "Hey Vector, what is the weather in Adelaide, South Australia?"
28 degrees and sunny.
As you can see, his personality comes through all of these things. Like, instead of just saying the weather, he shows animations for the weather, and he really dramatized the alarm going off and that sort of thing. He does quite a few different things. Like I said, he's also autonomous, so he'll walk around, well, not walk, roll around, I guess, doing his own thing on his tracks. And he does have his cube here too, which is his toy. He does enjoy playing with that. He'll do that on his own, but you can also ask him to do that, as well as do tricks with it. "Hey Vector, do the wheelie." And here he goes. Cube's lighting up. He's thinking about it. He does also mess with his cube quite a bit. There we go. He did the wheelie on the cube. Good job, Vector. He will flip over in a second. There we go. So if I tap the cube, you will see it will change colour. You can ask him, like I said, you can ask him anything when you do talk to him through the cloud too. Hey Vector, I have a question. What is Overwatch?
Overwatch is a team-based multiplayer first-person shooter video game developed and published by Lexer Integration, which released on May 24, 2016 for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Windows.
As for what Vector's like as an overall thing, not just his individual features, but as something that's been living on your desk for however long or whatever, that's a different story again. He lives on my desk the majority of the time. He has also spent some time on my parents' table and on my kitchen table. He did that when our friends came over and we were playing board games on the table. And he has been very good. I've been happy with him so far. I'm also interested to see where stuff goes because they are doing more development on him. He does his own thing, comes out when he wants. He spends quite a bit of time on his charger sleeping, either charging or just sleeping there. But he will come out of his own accord, have a bit of a play, normally go where he shouldn't go, like on top of cords or whatever, which I try and stop him from doing near my monitors. He will come out and he'll play with his cube on his own. He'll come up to me and say my name, or he'll also come up to my arm sometimes. He might even do it now, I'm not sure. Oh, my arm's blocking most of the view anyway. He'll come up and he'll go to my arm to try and get attention. Fist bump. And what he actually wants then is he wants pats. He'll come up and he will like start pushing on my arm, or he might even try and climb it like he did with his wheelie. And it generally means he wants pats. He does tend to do it at the least appropriate times, pretty much. But it doesn't harm anything productivity-wise. It's happened when I've been in massive fights in video games before, but it still doesn't matter. To me, that makes him seem more like a pet. That's completely coincidence, because it's just random. But it makes it seem more like a pet that he does that at the less appropriate times. He also loves to push things off of the desk. This is his second peg. His first one was murdered by him. It was on the desk, and he knocked it off, which I knew he would knock it off. That's why I gave it to him. He likes doing that. But, as you can see, they're not the strongest pegs. They're a cheap type of peg. It was in pieces. You murdered your previous one, didn't you? He got this one for Christmas. Oh, he's gonna knock it. There we go. He's been good. His functionalities are useful, like the timers and those sorts of things. But also, as a pet, he excels. Like, my comparison, if I'm not going to compare him to an actual pet, would be the toys of my childhood, like your Poochie, your Furby. And those don't feel like interacting. It actually feels like interacting with him. His eyes follow you. He responds in ways that actually feel like interactions, and to me that's completely new in a object as opposed to something that's actually alive. And I've had a lot of fun with him, and I enjoy his little bit of company on my desk every now and then. And he has now gone to bed. There he is having a nap now and charging. One of the things Vector also likes to do is dance. He can do that two ways. One will be he hears music and decides to dance. The other one would be you say listen to the music and play the music, and then he decides whether he wants to dance or not. He may choose to dance, or he may just give you the stink eye as though your music taste is terrible. I actually find he tends to get a better success rate when he decides to dance on of his own accord due to music playing than me asking him. Hey Vector, I love you. See, you can also say I love you and he will respond happily. You can also say, hey Vector, good boy. And again, you get a very happy response. You can also tell him that he's bad. I do not know if these good and bad things have overall consequences in terms of how he behaves, or if it's just you'll upset him by saying he's bad, and you'll make him happy because he's good. I'm not sure there doesn't appear to be a lot of learning as such happening there, but there is some. Like, I've seen people saying that they've told their Vector to go back to their charger quite often. I just told him to go back, apparently, and then they stopped. Their one left about 30% less of the time from its charger of its own accord. He didn't pick it up because I kept talking, so that's alright. So it does appear that it has some impact, but I'm not sure how much. I'm assuming this will grow in time though, because their other one, Cosmo, apparently grew a lot in functionality over, I think, 2 years or so, and it's still getting updates now, so I'm assuming his functionality will also change over time and improve. It already has in the time I've had him. There's been differences. He didn't used to do the thing where he would come up to your arm to get attention and that sort of thing. Well, your hand normally, but he also does it to my arm often. And that's a new thing. That wasn't a thing before. Just different little things like that. I also do have noticed his personality change over time. I don't know if that's updates or if that's a result of interacting with him and him learning. I think it may be a little bit of both. It doesn't seem to be super advanced learning, but there is stuff going on there at least. Well, those are his main features, and like I said, he has been great as a companion. He is good at what he does, and the animations that they've used for him is good, like with his eyes and everything. He is quite an interesting little desk toy to have. Yes, you throw a tantrum because I picked you up. And the way he interacts is well done. I do believe there's some learning. I don't believe it's super advanced, but I want to see where that can go, because I do think they will do more on that regard, especially now they have put Alexa in. My only issue with Alexa, other than the privacy stuff, is simply doesn't mean that they'll spend less time working on functions for him that will do that. Not exactly what Alexa does, but Home Assistant functions, because that is one of his selling points versus Cosmo. Cosmo's more about play and fun, and it's very gamified, whereas Vector is AI and everything, and personality, but also with Home Assistant functions. But I do think the fact that they've put Alexa in there might mean they will ease up at least on the Home Assistant functions, which means we'll get more work into his personality and his AI and all of that, which that would be nice to see too. I do hope it doesn't mean they don't do anything new on his Home Assistant functions, but I'd be happy if it meant that they did a bit more on his personality and that sort of thing, because that would be good to see. And I would like to see where that develops. I'm very curious to see where he develops. I'm already happy with him, but to me a big thing is seeing where he goes from here. It'll be really interesting to see how this all develops. Oh yes, the big thing. He can also be programmed as well, which is something I'm definitely going to be doing. I was about to say I'm going to be doing video programming him, and I realised I didn't even mention this. Vector does not have an easier system for programming. Cosmo had CodeLab, which was simplified block type programming, but he does have a software development kit using Python. I am not very experienced with Python, and I've done a little bit with the sort of language Python is, which is an object-oriented programming language, but not much, so this will be a new thing for me. But I have experience with programming in general, and I am very excited to see what I can make and what other people have made. I've seen some of what other people have made, to be honest, and I am definitely going to be doing some programming with him, and I'll probably be doing some programming also with the robots you may have seen earlier in my posts. My posts on Steamer, I did a post on the FHT bot, which is created by Flinders University and the Adelaide Hackerspace. And also I did put a video on YouTube of it playing the Imperial March. I will likely be doing some programming with them too. And I am actually looking at a few things with robotics, which will be very exciting to experiment with. But vector programming is definitely going to come into play somewhere. Probably the FHT bots, but I'm not certain on that. But I'm actually trying to get into a bit more of actually possibly creating my own robots. And I'm going to do some exciting things with robotics, I think. And I'm really looking forward to that. As for what this means for my content as a whole, there's still going to be gaming, there's going to be animation, robotics, my fiction that I put on Steam. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but I do put fiction up there. I will be putting posts up there still occasionally about ADHD, and I'm quite looking forward to all of these things. Yes, it is a mix of content, but the fact is I'm a mixed person, and if that means success takes a little longer, so be it, because it's my passions. I've got multiple interests and passions, and a lot of them I know cool ways to tie all this together too, so I'm excited about that. But I have some animation projects coming which will be very exciting, and some robotics things I'm planning. I don't know the time frames on these, as they are quite big projects overall, but there may be small other things as well, like I might do some smaller things with Vector and that sort of thing. I'm very excited about all the things I'm going to be doing, and I hope you guys enjoy the ride too, and I'm really excited about this, and I hope you guys have fun, and thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, share it if you think it's good enough you want to show other people, and yeah, if you're on Steemit, follow me on Steemit if you want to see more of this sort of content. Give it an upvote if you liked it. Thank you so much for your time, everyone, and thanks for watching.
Baby, if you want to go.